Monday, December 18th, 2023, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today, we're going to touch upon a subject that I've covered a lot in the last 2 to 3 years. It's about UK economic collapse. And I haven't covered it for a while, but many people think that a economic collapse is something horrible, but I don't think it is. Yes, it's not nice, but it doesn't mean to say that the economy comes to a complete halt. Everything stops. It's not what it is. And I even have a playlist, and I've just changed the name of the playlist. It's now UK Economic Collapse 2021 and Beyond. I had before that UK Economic Collapse 2021-2022. Unfortunately, nothing has changed, and that's what we're going to look at today. Before I do, I'd just like to thank all of you again for your interest in the channel. And if you're new to the channel and haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share it with loads of people that you think might enjoy what I talk about. Make sure you hit the little notification bell to be notified of all my new videos. And yes, if you want to support the channel as well, there are various ways in which you can do it, and they're all below in the description of this video and all my videos, of course. And yes, as we approach Christmas as well, we've got a week to go to Christmas. I'd like to wish all of you in advance a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And if you don't celebrate Christmas and New Year, I still hope that you enjoy, the holidays. So back to the UK economic collapse. And one of the reasons I'm talking about it is that there are people out there talking about this now. Someone like Jordan Peterson. And yes, I've listened to him for the last few years. Do I agree with everything he says? No, but he makes some good points. And I noticed yesterday, the Daily Telegraph or the Sunday Telegraph published this article here. Jordan Peterson, Britain will be Venezuela for 20 years if Starmer wins the next election. The Canadian psychologist said a Labour government would be catastrophic but highly likely. Well, I tend to agree with this general view that the economy is not going to do well, but I disagree with him on comparing Britain to Venezuela. And why is that? Well, I think Britain is much more developed than Venezuela. I would compare Britain more to a country like Argentina, which is a lot more European than Venezuela. And unfortunately, I think he's right about the economy, the malaise that we're going to continue to see. And it's not just if Starmer wins. It doesn't really matter who wins, in my opinion. Yes, it could get worse. It might improve with a Labour government. And for those of you who don't know, I'm completely apolitical. I'm of the opinion that politics is the problem, and that what we need is, the smallest government possible, no political bickering, because politics is the team part of the social construct, right? You've got football teams or soccer teams, you've got all kinds of teams, and people take sides, and it divides everyone. And it's the same thing in politics. We got this party and that party, but at the end of the day, the strings are pulled by the people in charge of the currency, of the money. And it's been, unfortunately, here in the UK, in England, since 1694, with the creation of the Bank of England. And why is that? Well, when you give a group of a small group of people control of the currency and give them a monopoly, they will pull the strings forever unless you take that power away. And how do they do that? Well, every commercial transaction requires currency. So if you got a small group of people controlling that currency, they can control everything. And that's where we are. And until that happens, until we do away with this fiat currency central banking system, nothing's going to improve. It doesn't matter if it's Starmer or Sunak or whoever. And why is that? Well, many people have warned in the past that what this central banking system does is that as you have control of the currency, control of the money, and you have people that have actually said that out loud, that they enjoy that power. One of them was Meyer Amschel Rothschild back in the 19th century. And he said, give me control of a country's or a nation's money, and I care not who makes the laws. And why is that? Well, because he chooses who makes the laws, the people who control the money. So that's all part of the game. They keep us divided against each other while they just control the currency, and they know when they're going to inflate, they know when they're going to deflate, and in the end of the day, we end up where we are. And where is that? Well, many people have warned as well about this, even the U.S. founding fathers, that if you allow, that banking houses are more dangerous than standing armies, and that eventually our children are going to wake up and, destitute and up to here and that. And that's where we are right now. And that's why the economies are not doing well. We have record national debts everywhere in the West. We have heavy taxation. And that's just to keep this fiat currency central banking system going. So that's why I don't agree with Jordan Peterson that it's just Keir Starmer, but he's going to continue the policy. And I even cut something out this weekend. I usually don't buy the paper, but I went to walk Rudy out, and I stopped by the shop, and this was on Saturday. I bought this Daily Mail, and it says half price Christmas. Major stores are mounting half price sales in a desperate bid to shift their unsold stock before Christmas. So yeah, the economy isn't doing great. They can't even sell Christmas presents. And why is that? Well, because most people are struggling to heat their homes, to feed their family, to move around, to take transportation to work. Well, that's when there are no strikes, of course. Yes, inflation is destroying our currency, not just in the UK, but everywhere else. But the other thing I saw was this here. Will 28 billion labor green spree mean new taxes? So there you go. That's what Keir Starmer wants to do. And it's not 28 billion one-off. He wants to tax you and spend 28 billion every year, and it could add up to like hundreds of billions, or it says here 224 billion, because he thinks that he knows best what's best for the economy. Even though he's like a politician, he thinks that if we create this green economy, and they always mention it as investment, right? Even though government has never invested in anything. And why is that? Well, because governments don't have any savings. They have to extract wealth from you. So you can't decide what to invest in and how to save. And they spend it. And they usually make a meal out of it. And the same thing's going to happen. But yes, so it's not going to be any better. And the conservatives are doing the same thing. They're interfering in the free market, in business. I went through this Jordan Peterson article, and he was going on about the wokeness, political correctness, all this stuff. He thinks it's going to be worse under Labor, but it's pretty bad already under the conservatives. And also, I would go like this for Labor, because if the Labor Party was really pro-worker, pro-labor, they would be pro-everyone. They would try to cut taxes, not just for the worker, but for businesses, for everyone, so that people would be more prosperous and workers would be happier and earn more and keep more of their money. But that's not what they want. And why doesn't that happen? Well, it all goes back to the central banking, fiat currency, fractional reserve. Fractional reserve is very important. And what is that? Well, most people think that when they put a pound in the bank, the bankers will lend that pound to Mr. Smith. But no, they will lend 9 pounds to Miss Smith on the back of your pound. So they create these loans out of thin air, not backed by anything. And what that does is that they have an advantage over you. If you lent a pound, you would get, let's say 100 pounds makes it easier. You would get 5 pounds interest a year if you loaned it once to Mr. Smith. But the banker, they'll get you 100 pounds and lend, let's say 1,000, and they'll get 50 pounds. So with those 50 pounds, they'll lend more, they'll buy stuff. And after 100, 200, 300 years, they'll take over everything. They'll own everything. And that's where we are right now. And that's why, unfortunately, I think UK economic collapse is going to ensue. And what does that mean, in my opinion? Well, all it means is massive economic inequality, massive unhappiness from the general public, strikes, welfare, and of course there will be those at the top who will do very well, who will benefit from it. That's what you need to understand. Even during an economic collapse, or a slow collapse like we're having in the UK, and I would add the United States, I would add Western Europe to this. The reason I'm focusing on the UK is because I live here, but it's all happening everywhere around the West. And yes, I guess we'll get to a point where maybe, hopefully, people wake up and realize that this central banking, fiat currency, fractional reserve system, where the few at the very top, they just suck the wealth out of the general public, and the general public end up destitute, can't even rent, can't even buy a property, can't even heat their homes, have to go to food banks. When people realize that maybe that the solution is something completely different, until that happens, things are not going to change, unfortunately. And why am I telling you this? Well, I'm just telling you because I think if people are aware of what's going on, if people know who their enemies are, really, they have a better chance of winning the war. It's what Sun Tzu said. First, you need to know yourself. Then you need to know your enemy, and know your enemy better than your friends. And then you can try to fight it. And that's what I've been trying to warn people about here, and try to help people if they want the help. And it's not advice, of course. So that's what's going on. And just before we look at the markets, there's another article here, and we're talking about debt. People, the fact that the founding fathers warned, you're going to wake up in a country that your fathers and grandparents conquered, and you're going to be highly indebted and destitute. Well, FT is reporting bankruptcies soar as high rates and end of COVID aid hit businesses hard. And this is everywhere in the United States, as you can see here, and in Western Europe. The UK is up there at the top in Europe. And this is the old mechanism of inflate and deflate. And that's what the Fed is doing. They're deflating right now. They might reinflate again. But their friends who are the insiders, they always get the advantage of knowing beforehand. That happened in the 29 crash during the Depression. And it's going to happen again. So what do I think is the best way to not get hurt by these people? And even though I think everyone gets hurt, even people who know what's going on and try to protect themselves, it's inevitable. Well, one way is not to play these people's game. You know, the game of borrowing and spending more than you need. And yeah, try to keep your hard-earned wealth outside the system through hard assets, through gold, silver, through paying off all your debt. Well, debt, of course, is the worst, really, because it's their mechanism of control. So I think the only thing we can do, and I usually don't say these things, and it's not even, for some of you, it might not be religious, but we need to pray that things get better, that people wake up and realize how, wicked this current system of currency and credit and fractional reserve is, and that the only way for us to collaborate and be, not be divided is for us to unshackle from this system. It's hard, but we need to know that it's there. So with that, let's quickly look at the markets this morning. So it's 8:30 a.m. London time. We've got spot gold at 2023. It's up just under $4. High's been 25 and the low's been 15. So fairly quiet right now. Silver is trading just above 24. It's up 14 cents. The high's 24.04. The low is 70. The Dow futures up 43. NASDAQ is down 2. S&P is up 6. To the currencies, sterling is up slightly, 126.89. The euro is up 0.25%, 109.20. The dollar is up 0.15 at 142.35 versus the yen, that is. The dollar is unchanged versus the yuan at 713.60. Aussie dollar is up 0.33%, 67.23. The dollar is down slightly versus the Canadian dollar, 133.73. The Kiwi dollar is up 0.5% at 62.40. To the commodities, WTI crude is up 0.75% at 72.22. Brent is up 0.75 as well, just above $77. Platinum is up $8, trading around $952, and high-grade copper is down slightly, trading just below $389. And back to the bond market now. The 10-year yield, U.S. 10-year yield, is down about 2 basis points at 391, and the UK 2-year yield, which in my opinion is quite important, is up slightly here, up 6 basis points at 433. That has, of course, come off quite a bit. A few months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, we were above 5. They've been able to bring that down. But as I said, I think interest rates are going to go back up fairly soon, not just in the UK, but in the US. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.